The drive to succeed and the unrelenting passion to be the best is a part of who we are. It's in our DNA, the indomitable spirit of champions. With strength and vigor, we celebrate with pride the glory of hard-earned victories. We celebrate the greatness that is within us all. We celebrate Jamaica.
Talk Up Youth is powered by National Baking Company in association with Cran Water, a Stanley and Empress production giving the youth a voice.
Talk Up Youth.
So we come to know these youths and show these youths. Talk up youths, help the youths to know them roots. Nurture them, protect and love and hear these youths. Music make them know I love we show these youths. To save the youth, not kill the youth.
Talk Up Youth encourages all youth to find tangible solutions for their issues.
Season 6, the best of past seasons, the interview, the panel discussion, and dub poetry by Stepper.
Are you ready for today's show? Today's topic is...
The bill we come to build the youths in action, Jamaica. We are build the youths, the come youth in Jamaica.
We're about to do it. Jamaica, unemployment continues to be of great concern in this country among our youth. Working with young people and maximizing their potential is a big part of the Talk Up Youth movement. So we have invited Moya to help us open up the conversation about youth and unemployment. Hi, Moya. How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm fine.
Excellent. Moya, let's get straight to it. We've heard many young people complain that they have a degree and they can't find a job. You have a degree?
Yes, I do.
In?
Language education, English.
Language education, English. Okay. Are you currently employed?
No, I'm not.
Why?
Because I can say I sent out a lot of resume and applications to schools because my degree is in education, and I have not received any good word to say for unemployment. So basically, I'm just at home, being a stay-at-home mom, and sometimes I tutor, you know, and stuff like that to get myself busy as an educator.
How are employers responding to the resumes? When you send it out to the schools, do they respond at all?
From experience, sending out resume, I only received one call from 2015 up until now. And I did an interview, but when I get back to the school, they told me that I did not have enough experience, so they took somebody else over me.
So how much experience have you had since graduating?
My experience ranges from sales, education in the classroom, teaching practice, research. So it's not one thing. It's on a broad scale of different areas.
So how many resumes have you sent out to schools?
Tons of resumes. Because my area is in teaching, what I do is try to group the schools in Kingston and outside of Kingston. So for example, in one given day, I sent out like 15 resumes.
15 resumes?
Yes, 15 resumes.
Wow. And no responses?
No responses. Sometimes I wonder if it's the resume is a problem, and then I turn to my teachers or my lecturers and somebody professional to look at it and say, Maya, what's the problem? Because I want to get the solution from not having a job or getting a job or getting that call for an interview.
Do you follow up with them? Do you call and say, listen, I sent my resume last week, I haven't heard back?
Sometimes.
And what's the response like then?
The experience.
So they want experience?
They want experience.
So what do you think is more important, to be qualified or to have experience? There seems to be quite a conflict there, and we've heard it over and over from many young people that they need this amount of experience. What to you is most important?
All right, from my experience, I think having the experience right now is a good thing. But how do you get the experience as a young girl or a young boy? Because I am qualified. I have my CXCs, my CAPE, and I have my degree in language education as well as a diploma. So why can't I get a job? I think it's the experience.
So how are we going to solve this global youth unemployment crisis?
I think the government should invest in infrastructure and resources to develop young people. And one thing that they could do as well, at the high school level, what you could do as administrators, give students a chance to get some experience, by giving them the opportunity, make it mandatory for you to get an internship in your field from 4th form right up to 6th form. I think that could probably solve the issue of unemployment with our youths.
That's interesting. That's an interesting solution. What goes through your mind sometimes when you're sitting at home and you're thinking, I've sent out these resumes, I haven't had a response. How does it affect you emotionally, self-esteem?
Sometimes I feel miserable, especially when I see like younger people, underqualified, not qualified at all, and working. I feel miserable. I feel bad at times, looking at myself like I'm unproductive. You know what I mean? Yes. So what I do to keep myself intact and mentally stable, I like to read, so I read a lot. I speak to positive people, and I use my time wisely. So I'll go and I tutor my cousins, people in the community, and stuff like that to keep, flexible at times.
Well, maybe you can turn your tutoring into a full-time job.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. And what message would you like to send to the employers out there, especially those who you've sent your resume to?
Give the young people a chance. Allow us to just explore in the workplace, to just develop personally and professionally, because we need the experience, and we're asking you to just give us that experience.
And should employers respond to the resumes, you think? Will that help the...
Yes, give us feedback of what you think is in the resume, what's going wrong, what you need to do.
So you would want some feedback from
some feedback.
The resumes that you sent out. Interesting. And to those out there who have a degree or who don't and are searching for employment and can't find it and they're down and out, look at them and give them a word of encouragement.
Stay on the same path, go to school, get that degree or degrees, Sometimes you might find yourself in a different area of study that you studied for. Stay positive. Get an internship, volunteer if you have to. Just stay positive and do what you have to do to make your mark in the world of work.
All right. I like that, Maya. Thank you so much for joining us. And to those listening out there, sell yourself in a few sentences. Here's your on-air resume application to employers watching. Tell them.
All right. So I'm an educator. I might be looking young, but I have, a wealth of knowledge to share with students, children from all over. I would volunteer just to get out there and do what I have to do. I like teaching, I love teaching, I have a passion for the profession. Without a teacher, you cannot move anywhere in society. They give you the opportunity to do anything that you want to be in society. So I just want you to give me the opportunity to come and teach in one of your schools and to give the students the knowledge that they're waiting for.
All right. She's passionate about it. So if you want to employ her, email us, talkupyout@gmail.com. Thank you, Moya. And we know that you will be employed within the next 12 months, guaranteed. All right. Now let's listen to the perspectives raised by our youth in a minute when they join us in the Talk Up Youth virtual boardroom, our think tank boardroom, tackling the youth unemployment situation in Jamaica and globally. So we'll have them come in right now. And wishing all of you young people looking for a job, wishing you the best.
We have to build the youths there. Youth in Jamaica.
Working hard to not work at all. This is a fate that many young people leaving high school and university have come to accept. But we know the reality. Jobs are hard to find. So what are you doing to change your situation? My issue is that young people are not empowering themselves to conduct adequate job market research, to expose themselves to a wide range of career options that will prevent them from entering saturated fields.
My issue as regards to youth and unemployment is the failure of the education system, especially when it comes to preparing young people, secondary level students, to not only become educated, but also to become better equipped for the working world. I believe that not enough emphasis is being put on those very practical and basic skills that are necessary to be able to work, rather than just the theory of business and the job market in general.
How do you expect us to get 5 years of experience while just leaving high school? I believe it's a serious issue that youth with no skills or experience are not provided with opportunities to gain that experience itself. And we, in the long run, end up not being marketable for our career choice.
Right. And unemployment is actually a major source for a lot of the social ills in our society. Unemployment is a major catalyst for crime, poverty, disruptive behavior. And we know we have a major issue with that in this country. And unemployment is something that can tax the whole family. When one person is unemployed, it's like a missing link in the chain. Whether it's from the aspect of the parent not being able to provide, or for that youth to give the economic backup that the household needs right now. When a parent is unemployed, a child's reality is greatly compromised, because what their classmates might be able to experience, for example, swim classes, they might not be able to experience that. And it gives a higher level of, it gives the chance of a higher level of underdevelopment. Opportunities are highly linked to income in a lot of cases. So they might not be able to afford extra class or to do more sports or what have you, to even afford tablets or computers to further their educational pursuit. When a child comes to school and they don't have any books in their bag or any pencils or anything like that, there's a very high chance that their classmates' pencil might go missing. Not necessarily because that child is a miscreant or because they want to give trouble or just, have demons set upon him, as people would say. It's just that he wants to learn as well, because that child, he or she I should say, has a right to an education and a better future. But because that parent might be unemployed, their situation is definitely negatively impacting a major way.
Too many youths are too comfortable with the normal CXC cape just to put on their resume. That is so 2014, 2016 now. You should go out there and get in more special skills such as languages, Spanish, French, something that makes your resume more colorful, more appealing. Too many youths are lazy to create the effort in order to create temporary or permanent job solutions.
My problem with unemployment, or a main factor that I think causes unemployment, especially in the youth in Jamaica today, is ageism. Now, ageism is the discrimination or prejudice against someone because of their age. I believe that, contrary to popular beliefs, that many of our youth today, between 18 and 25, have been denied jobs because of their age. And I think the corporations and the companies today hide this ageism in the whole lack of experience facade, or the no experience facade, when in truth and in fact, they have not been given this job because they're too young or they're deemed as immature when they're actually qualified to get a job.
So alright, I've heard all our issues. So we're so far about discussion segment next. Alright.
We have to build the youths, they have a youth in Jamaica.
I know I can depend on my barber to give me the perfect haircut every time. Respect is also due to my bus conductor. He ensures that I am not left behind and I get on board safely. It's good to see the police protecting and reassuring with courtesy. My journey through life is unfolding every day. I pledge my heart forever to serve Jamaica, our shining homeland, with pride.
Mommy had it really hard raising 3 kids on her own.
At 17 years old, I became a father.
I started baking because I wanted to make a little extra money to just go to school.
At the time, I had to use small-scale farming to support both myself and my daughter.
When the time came to pay for my C6 subjects, the scholarship from Cranwater, that was a blessing.
The scholarship was actually one of the greatest things that I could earn. I'm determined to be an inspiration for other young people.
Attention all children, youth and parents. Talk of Youth in association with National Baking Company, Cran Water and NCB presents the Talk of Youth Youth Edutainment Day. Saturday, October 29. It's going to be a fun day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the Randy Williams Center lawn on Hope Road, Kingston. Admission is free. Youth DJs, career counseling, resume bank and booth. Youth advocates, come out, games and rides, sexual and reproductive tents and HIV testing for free. Lots of giveaways and more. Hosted by me, Empress. Roll out with the family. All solutions. I got dead. It's a fun environment. Talk of Youth. Masefi, Talk of Youth.
We have to build the youths, the album youth in Jamaica.
Right, so unemployment is really a far-reaching, deep, and serious problem right across the board. Unemployment has been a major problem in Jamaica, and it's been a major impediment to our growth over the years. Actually, not just in the past 100 years, but even before that, because even after the collapse of the plantation economy, there hasn't been enough industrial development to absorb all of that labor that was there before. Because think about it, you import all of this labor, right? High quality persons that are smart, strong, etc. Then now you have the collapse of that industry, right? Where are all those people going to go? So there has never been a time where we have grown to the point where we have been able to properly absorb all of that labor. So that's why you find after rural to urban migration, people looking for work in Kingston and so on, when Kingston was developing in the 30s and so on, there are a lot of slums, because you find that in the business districts, you find that there are a lot of depressed communities around that. And that's because of our inability to absorb all of that labor effectively. So now, as a result, you find that crime and those things will put a risk on all of those business areas. For example, in Montego Bay, we have a problem with extortion. A lot of gangs down there are actually pressuring the business owners, and it's a serious impediment to growth. And if those people and some of their ancestors were able to gain meaningful employment, to gain certain opportunities, those things wouldn't have dominoed into what it is today. So that's what I really have to say about unemployment.
So that's all about like unmet expectations is something that jumps out at me. But I want to touch on something that Chelsea said earlier before I lose my train of thought in relation to that. You spoke about ageism and saying that corporations don't want to employ young people because of their age. Personally, I mean, that's your perspective. But what I find is that I don't think it's at that entry level in terms of not employing them in the organization. I do believe that ageism is a factor when you reach and in terms of excelling and being promoted. Because for me, I work in communication. I'm a communication practitioner. And one of the things you find as a young person when you go into that arena is that they're expecting you to come with those bright and fresh ideas, because that's why we empower the youth. So I think there are industries that they have a strong orientation, you know, to employing young people. Yeah, you know, so I don't really think that is the unemployment where the ageism comes in, but it happens at a later stage in the job, not necessarily now for communication, but extending across other professions where you have people really get a fight because of their age, or you are treated differently because of your age. So I do see that happening.
There are certain skills that will help you to get jobs that weren't necessarily taught in schools, not directly. So you weren't taught that, well, you know, relationship building is something that is a major accelerator for you getting opportunities. But it just so happens that the people who might have been more extroverted, they might not be unemployed for a longer period, because they're the ones who are able to build all the links and contact the people who are already working. Somebody vouch for them and they're in. Because you find that a recommendation might just be strong or even stronger than qualification on paper.
Julian, also about that, speaking about skills, too many of our youths they're too comfortable leaving school just CXC, you know. You leave school with 34 CXC and say, yeah, I'm 34 CXC. Isn't it? I can leave school with what? 7 subjects and Spanish and experience in graphic design. I'm get a big work. While you there, you're 34 CXC and a 34 big certificate per wall, and I take beer picture and I say, yo, I have 34 CXC. While me there work and I get my own. We need to go out. We need to go out and look it.
Like,
we need to go out and look it.
What you're saying resonates, man.
Yeah, let's go out and look. If Spanish, you want come much country in the world to speak Spanish. Learn, get fluent in Spanish, get a Spanish country speaking
Yeah,
visa,
more
and you're gone and sending remittance for your family and so build up the economy. Too comfortable.
But
Man.
also,
Get up,
also
man. Get
Hakeem,
up.
I think that it also happens after university because you know you spend so much time in a school and you pay your money for go school and thing, and then you work so hard and you feel say, yeah, I am supposed to get a job, and yeah, I work hard for it, but that is not the case. And I think as youth, we're too, as Hakeem said, we're kind of too complacent, and instead of going out there and making jobs and trying to create opportunities for ourselves, we're waiting for them to show up and
too lazy.
Yeah, the misguided expectation of the workplace is an issue. Like what I was thinking about, as you said, Chelsea and Hakeem said, the effort does not match the expectation. And then we believe that with a first degree, you are commanding a paycheck, and that is not the case. Many of us do not. So when you're talking about CXC and the resume, we don't have any experience to bring to the table. And then when we ask ourselves, but you know, the job, because I hear Jovain saying that, but you know, they're expecting us to find 5 years experience, and I send in my resume the same way. Not that it doesn't have experience, but what? When you volunteer, you go out and you find summer job, it shows that person that you are trying. So it's not that you're expecting corporate Jamaica or whoever you're looking for employment gonna give you that experience out the back, but you're seeking avenues to find that experience.
We're not actually exposed to what's really out there and what can actually make you money nowadays. And I mean, it's not only being a nurse, lawyer, or doctor that can actually make you earn income, but you can also be a graphic designer. You can make money being a singer. I mean, there are a lot of stuff out there for you.
That's a good point, because the way how they make it seem is you need to definitely go to school and get an education, and after that, you know, you can start your career. But people fail to understand that education is a very wide thing,
and it's
meaning that you can be educated in athletics, you can be educated as a singer.
Outside the classroom, you're saying?
Yeah, there's also education outside of the classroom. You have Usain Bolt, you have the Marleys, you have all of them people that maybe definitely, I don't know how the grades stay in school or whatever, but they have definitely achieved social mobility in terms of getting employed by a major industry or whatever.
But Jovain, that they speak about Usain Bolt and Marley, that comes down to talent, you know. That comes down to mainly talent. I have talent, and everybody are born with the talent, are born a talent so they can profit off of it like that. So like, as me I say now, them normally say scorn for dog, me I'm dirty pun. So it don't make sense to sit down in your yard and a complaints in the work out there. Go look at all I want to work at Tasty, at Josie Beef, work at a KFC work, and go on earn while you look for something bigger. Because you have to start from somewhere, you know. Have to start from somewhere. Something say.
And what you said earlier really resonated with me when you said that youths are becoming too lazy or too complacent with just their CXC passes. Because what I realize, especially at the secondary level, but also at the tertiary level nowadays, that is becoming the culture in Jamaica that, for example, you have your PhD, you have your degree, you have your subjects. It's almost as if those are supposed to be the determinants of who you are as a person. People aren't seeing it as testaments of what their skills are supposed to be, but they're not aspiring to become better people, but aspiring to just get those stats on paper. But at the same time, 100 other people might be out there who want to apply for the same job and they have those exact same stats. So what they're going to do? They can't just sit down and complain about it. They need to do something to give them the edge. And as you said earlier, things like languages, things like different skills, even if it's not directly applicable to your job, it's going to help you and make you more. It's going to increase your chances of becoming gainfully employed and make it more marketable.
Make it look better, man. Accuracy.
The different skills thing that you just touched on, Jared, is really important. For example, the other day, I saw a friend of mine on Instagram, right? And she's showcasing some designs. And I said, what? Is a fashion designer?
Yeah.
So my sister is graduating, so I asked her, make my sister's grad dress, and it was absolutely stunning. And everyone from our school was saying we had no idea that she had that skill.
Yeah.
So that's another thing when you talk about vocational skills being introduced in high school, because sometimes some youth won't know that they have a particular talent or knack for something if you don't introduce. So sometimes it's discovery learning. So we're saying if you even have sewing, that type of industry, cosmetology, because that's the trend, undeniably. So sometimes they need to give the youth something to work with, and then you can complement that with something else, and you'll teach them how to create sustainable means of employment.
That's true, but also the parents play a big play a big part in it, because then you can have somebody with that knack or skill or whatever, but they'll be like, okay, mommy, I want to be a fashion designer, or I want to do this. And parents be like, no, that not work.
No money.
You see me? That not make no money. So they must say, yo, go do law, go do medicine, go do something that's profitable. So I mean, you have to understand that sometimes they have the skills, but they're afraid. They're genuinely afraid based on like what the parents' reaction
say.
might
And the
be.
parents get it wrong. Some of these parents, or some of our parents, want to live vicariously through us. And when you said the law, I had a conversation with somebody yesterday doing law, and she said the very same thing. You know, she wanted to do psychology and something else. Parents pushing her to the law. She said the law feels saturated. People graduating from last year don't get no work.
Yeah, that is true.
You know, so it's really difficult sometimes. Some parents not helping the children to see the vision, and some of us have the better vision.
They don't care, because I mean they're funding it, and they definitely don't want to fund any fashion design or any.
But also, Lena, to touch on your point with the whole saturated fields, I feel as if a lot of children nowadays, or the youth in high schools, they feel like they're pushed into that field because we're not exposed to the options that we have.
That's true, but we can empower ourselves to do that, and challenge yourself to find out what is out there, because we're not able to separate popular from saturated. And even when you go back to the youths being lazy, like you have some people, everybody are going to business or some profession, and you don't. So what separates you from the other person? You're going with the same degree, the same CXC subject, and so what separates you from that person? You don't stand out, so you're not doing anything on the side to make somebody look at you and say, okay, you just go, your resume just going to go in the regular pile, and they want somebody that stand out.
Yeah, they're looking for well-rounded persons, and I think one of the problems that are prominent now is that we as youth, we don't do anything without getting something in return. And I think that's one of the major problems, because when you're looking for internships and stuff for experience, we're going to say, we're not making no money off of this, so why am I going to do it, when in truth and in fact it's an investment, because you're not making any money, but you have the experience. So when you go to apply for that job now later down, you can say, okay, well, years before I did a summer in this job, and I did a couple months in that.
National Youth Service, I worked for them, and when I graduated, my friend was like, so why you go work for that amount of money? And I said, all right, work for youth service and get the experience and get that stipend, or sit down at home and do nothing. Nobody now gonna take out that money. I'm in my job, and somebody from youth service called me, you have an interview on Thursday. I said, well, I never applied for nothing. And they said, but we have your resume on file. And that is what young people need to understand, is a long-term thing. Don't think about the immediate return. Is a long-term thing that we must look towards.
That is true. And in my experience, from the start of 2016, I made a promise to myself to not turn down any opportunities. And when exam finished in May, I get a work on a truck to do some events, just live up some every box. And I jump on it. I said no, because what? We can make a one link there, make a next link there. So I never stop push myself to me all up on TV, big up myself no matter. Reach out on TV. So I never stop push myself to reach that level, So when I left for university, I may apply for work, or if as with me, I have my own internship thing put on already. So if I apply for work, I can come to reach for YouTube links. Boss, we did it on TV, we did it on YouTube. So we can, put myself out there, run and do it.
Even speaking of YouTube is really free education, There's so many tutorials and videos.
A lot of opportunities.
Outside of makeup tutorials.
Yeah, even outside of the formal education and school. I've learned a lot about investing and entrepreneurship just through different YouTube channels. Entrepreneurship can be a viable alternative to the traditional means of applying for a job, because sometimes the truth is you really have to make your own job.
True.
Some of the greatest minds in the world were unemployed when they came up with that breakthrough idea. I'm not saying that everybody is an innate entrepreneur, but there are things that they can learn, right? And we're living in a time where we have to be more dynamic. We are not from the era where you can have one job and that one job will meet all of your needs.
True.
Inflation has created a world where we have to hold a job and be able to have other skills that we can leverage in order to have multiple sources of income.
And take risk takers.
Yes.
Precisely.
Also, Hakim, you said a very good point. You took a job at working with some truck or something, and a lot of persons would not take that job just because there's a stigma surrounding jobs like that, like working at Tasties and like working in the fast food restaurants, because you know them not making like a lot of money
not even fast people not even want to answer like secretary,
yeah,
like,
and also like customer service,
receptionist.
And people frown on call center work, and like enough time a couple of my friends going doing call center, people frown at them, say them not. It's a start.
Exactly.
You have to start from somewhere.
You
have to start from somewhere.
And to the youths, you definitely need to understand that this is not your career. This is just to get your foot, just to get your foot in on what you want to do.
And also, there's a difference. There's a difference between career and occupation.
Exactly. So we need to definitely understand that. Okay, let's just get the experience here so that we can be more marketable for whatever our career path might be.
Because our education system, unfortunately, has prepared us for the industrial era. And right now, we're not in the industrial era, right? We're in the post-industrial era. So now things are more digitized. There are more problems that we're facing that our parents didn't face, right? And whereas some things might be easier for us, like access to information, there are things that we have to go through that they didn't have to go through. For example, we were taught to get a job and then use that job to plan out your life.
Sure.
In most cases, realistically, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to apply the necessary strategies for the world today, because nobody's going to hand it to us. Right? We need to link up with the people who will help us to get where we need to get, and also apply the necessary skills and strategies.
I remember when Chelsea started with Ageism, I'm just throwing it back out there where you could have the necessary qualifications, and as you said that certain institutions are looking for bright young minds to like facilitate certain ideas. Like even though you may have an idea to maybe a multi-million-dollar promotion or program or whatever, they still will put somebody over you and then put you to shadow that person.
Yeah, they have a better idea.
Exactly. But the thing is, this person has no use, but because you can feed them the idea and they can be the face of it just because you're too young and whatever, and this is not very good for our company and stuff like that. So it's definitely an issue.
Because they're trying to prolong their working year to have like a sense of purpose in society, this creates the lack of jobs for the youth of the society to actually go in and have the experience and enter into these jobs to work.
Right, thank you so much for that point, Chelsea, and we'll be right back with the solutions after this break.
We have to build the youth, they have a youth in Jamaica.
It's a new day, filled with new challenges and possibilities. It's another opportunity for us to be the best that we can be. Now is the time to work diligently and creatively, with true respect for all. Now is the time to think honestly, serve faithfully, and respond to duty's call.
Let's keep it clean today.
Mommy had it really hard raising 3 kids on her own.
At 17 years old, I became a father.
I started baking because I wanted to make a little extra money to just go to school.
At the time, I had to use small-scale farming to support both myself and my daughter.
When the time came to pay for my C6 subjects, the scholarship from Cranwater, that was a blessing.
The scholarship was actually one of the greatest things that I could earn.
It's very important to pursue education and to strive towards greatness.
Unemployment is a really big issue because it actually slows the economy down. When people don't have the income to spend, it actually slows down business activity. So we have to use the strategies that are fit for today's world, right? Our education system has given us some information, but that's not necessarily enough for the world today, right? So the fact that youth have things like social media, that's a free marketing and advertising platform, and can use it as PR that can reach hundreds and thousands of people. We can also use YouTube, which is a source of free education, so to speak. You can learn skills that you wouldn't have. You don't have to go to school anymore to know certain things. We just need to learn the art of leveraging and using what we have to our advantage and structure that within our plan to get where we really want to be. Because nobody's going to give us a magic pill that's going to just heal everything.
Accurate.
True.
Relationships as well, that's a big deal. As a matter of fact, the first 2 jobs I got after completing my program at UWI was because of people that I knew. And it wasn't just that, all right, my brethren are boss me because of a link. they could vouch for me, and that is powerful. Somebody needs to be able to vouch for you. Not just the people who are the references on your resume, but just having high quality friendships that can help you to learn and help you to gain other places that can put you forward.
Accurate.
I feel that there's a stigma attached to persons who have retired because we view them as old or elderly, and it's because they're not contributing to the society in a very positive way by working. And I feel that because of this, these more matured workers, they try to lengthen their working years. So to kind of deter this, I think we need like a set age for retirement so that these opportunities and places that these persons hold or held can be open to the youth.
We should definitely create more opportunities and not just wait on international companies or organizations to come down here and help build Jamaica. We as Jamaica can actually build institutions for the youth to actually put their skills and knowledge to use, just to get that experience so that we may further our careers. And youths, I'm reaching out to you because I understand the pressure that you don't want to do this right now, and you definitely, this is not what you see yourself doing for 10 years, but look at it as just getting it done right now so that we don't have to do it later, and this is not a lifetime plan for ourselves and our children. You understand? It goes on for generations, so we definitely want to like eliminate all of that and just get the experience now so that we don't have to do it later. So if you definitely have a career in your mind and you definitely need the experience, go out and get whatever you can get your hands on, and just think of it as a right now plan, and it's definitely going to be a long-term, it's going to affect whatever your long-term goal is.
Accuracy. My solution is actually partners with Julian, whereas I would say young people should get more marketable, but where I see it for young people, just keep on running in. You see the link, you see an opportunity running. Lack of confidence is not getting anywhere in this life. True. Not getting anywhere. This is how I reach on TV. I saw opportunity, I'm just running, and look at me, they're on TV now. So let's keep on running in. As Julian earlier said, you go on YouTube to learn a special skill. You can go on YouTube to learn to speak Spanish or graphic design. So many things. And I look at, and also he said social media. I agree that social media is a big platform where you can use and propel or a career. Look at Prince Pine. Look at all those videographers. Look, many people bust off of social media. Just put yourself out there. If you have a talent that is social media worthy, you put it out there. If you have a graphic design skill and you can design graphic, just put it out there on social media. Put it on Instagram, put it on Twitter, and just put it out there. Because people are going to see it, and if it's good work, people are going to get recognition. Because you can't put out sloppy work, lazy work, full work and expect to get nothing.
And if it's bad work, you'll get feedback as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And I won't say my resume, I don't want to top at that, but I have experience because I did many summer jobs, but I still don't lose confidence, and I still hold the faith and just go and put in the work. So keep on sending out resumes, and I get a couple of callbacks and get a couple of decline. But what? Life still goes on, still have life, I still have the confidence. So you just go out there and do it. Run in. I hit.
What I also believe is that the government, especially the Ministry of Education, should also be held accountable for this kind of lack of preparation of youth to become apt in today's working world. As Julian said, we're not in an industrial society. We're now in a post-industrial society. And right now, the working world, it's not just what you have on paper that's important. You need to have other auxiliary skills, other vocational skills. So as a solution that I can propose that the government try to implement is to put more funding and emphasis onto skills and training in schools, particularly with courses such as business-oriented classes, classes that can help build practical skills over just the theory, and just trying to create a better environment for youth to become better equipped to be gainfully employed in today's society.
Maybe a part of what Jared even proposed could be that, for example, you could make economics introduced in schools at an earlier stage. Because a lot of persons are moving through life and they don't understand why the prices of things are continuously going up, even though they're working hard. And they might feel as if they are moving forward in terms of their position in the workplace, but their actual goals out there are moving away from them because of inflation. So when people understand certain concepts like inflation and price and demand, they could probably start a business more effectively. They could probably even understand what tax is and the purpose of tax. A lot of people don't understand what tax is, right? So skills like that can be complemented with certain shifts in the curriculum, like introducing economics at an earlier stage.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, sorry, before Dana comes in and comes with a solution, just have one last thing to say. Youths, Lego your career 2016. Go out there and Lego your career. Thank you. Dana.
All right. So we just talk up. Now you must rise up. Understand the situation. Understand the environment that you are about to go into. Don't be afraid to conduct research and find out what's going on. And research doesn't mean you have to go on Google and find that information. You want to be an entrepreneur, you can see a businessman in your community that you can speak to and get some sound advice. Just don't talk to one person, rely on one opinion. You want to be a lawyer, you find out from a community lawyer what is happening. We need to empower ourselves and work within what is the reality. So that's it from us. And now we step up.
Okay. Talk up, youth. Talk up, youth. Talk up. Me say fi talk up. Talk up. Me say fi talk up. What are we people work hard for can't get no work around here? What are we people work hard for can't get no work around here? 12 years of school is not enough experience. 24 CAPE, 16 CXC, 84 GCE. But yet still, you can't get no work around here. Work short around here. Them tell about entrepreneurship, but there's not much to support this. You're talking about startup capital. Nobody now bust no youth around here. I interest rate per little loan around here. You're talking about entrepreneurship, no system to support it around here. What are we youth work hard for can't get no work around here? Talking about experience, where me fi get it from? Where me fi stay get it? Eh? You better tell me. Nobody now employ me, but yet them a school me. So much youth are left out of university, but nowhere to go. Huh? What we are going to do? Sit down, turn papi show. You better start a business. You better realize it's self-reliance. Marcus Garvey said that. So many youth are work hard and can't get no work around here. So much youth are graduate a year time can't get no work around here. We sit down line up, turn crop around here. But yet still have 44684 GCE around here. What are we a youth work hard? We can't get no work around here.
Talk up youth, we said to talk up youth.
In Jamaica.
Talk Up Youth is powered by National Baking Company in association with Cran Water, a Standing Empress production, giving the youth a voice.